Welcome back to Dat Build. Today I am tackling something that I hoped I really wouldn't have to do with the Beetle. That of course has to do with the lovely sunroof. And if you recall back to my introduction of this car, I hate sunroofs. I mentioned it then and I am mentioning it again now. A lot of the dash under here is removed, and of course this video is actually going to be reinstalling that and showing you the slight repairs that I've actually done with the plastic there. Instead, this video is going to be about tracing a leak which I have just discovered, nearly putting back on this, and of course I'm glad I didn't because it allowed me to discover it. This stuff under here, insulation, whatever you want to call it, I'm not really sure what it is exactly. It was damp and I only just felt it by kind of pushing it back into place. It was a little pulled out from the removal of the plastics. In pushing it back in, I kind of felt like a wetness, more or less. And I thought maybe it's just the metal, that damn phone. Maybe it's just the metal of the cross brace of the support bar and everything like that, but no, it wasn't. I traced a bit further, and surely enough, underneath the actual seat itself is actually a puddle of water. So, for whatever reason, yeah, it's just pooling through, and I thought maybe at first it was the door. It's not the door, it is actually the channel, and so I've got to check all the channels now because I'm sure if one's faulty, the others are faulty, and this is what I hate about sunroofs, is that you've got to clean out the channels. If you don't, they get full of debris, and then of course they can start weeping, which this one right here at the very back, I'll take you in a second, but there is a bit of water there. Whether it's amounted to the dampness that I've found, it has been consistently raining and everything like that, so I can only assume that is the case, but remove this panel here is literally just 4 little plastic clips you just pull away and then pull up into the side. But now I'm going to find out why this is blocked, and the trouble is that in order to do so, I've got to remove that, which means that even more water gets introduced back in, but it's already got water in here. Funny enough, there's no smell, which is kind of the first thing I was expecting to find, is a damp smell in the car. As soon as you know that, you've got a water leak, so therefore you start hunting, but there's no smell. So whether it's just very recent, but I pulled back all the carpet, all the trimming along the side here, there is a puddle of water in the actual run. So of course I'll have to let the car dry out, but I can't do that until I address this, which means I'll have to do the driver's side as well, and then figure out where the rears go, which isn't fun because there's bigger chunks of plastic and more pieces of them that I have to remove in order to do so. So let's start here first and then go from there. Remove this out of the way first. This is coming out. Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, there we go. Completely blocked. So that was more or less pooling, and then everything else was just going over. Okay, so this came out reasonably well. It's yeah, just has a standard sort of seal that goes into the body, and of course to get it back in, hopefully I can just pop it back into place, because I really don't want to have to remove this and that to reinstall this, but I'm reasonably optimistic. But yeah, it is simply just clogged. It's pushing it through on the inside. You can see just the debris that comes along with it. So I'll clean this out just so it's actually right for the future. I may even just mill that hole out a bit too. I mean, yeah, that should be fine. Okay, so all cleaned out. Reasonably well cleaned out. Just some Sikaflex in my situation, just all the stuff for your door seals, and I think that's what this one was for. Yeah, it'll work. Better than nothing. Okay, don't need much, just enough to make a decent seal. There we go. So yeah, just don't know if that shows up at all. Yeah, kind of. Just a little bit of a decent application around the lip there. So when the hose goes back in, it just kind of seals around that, or at least pushes a bit down along the wall. So it's better than just leaving it the way it was, because I'd rather it have something as opposed to nothing at all. Now, just because of angles, this is just not going to be straightforward, I think. Yep, that's feeling pretty good. So, get the hose, just remove any minor amounts of debris, and just going to send it home. There we go. So, you can see me reinstall this part. It's basically reversed. I will dismantle the other side as well. If one side's bad, the other side will be. You sort of have to notice this side because of that dampness. So, tweeter goes back in. I could really see at this point remove these tweeters, but there's no weight in them anyway, really, so I might just leave them in this situation. It's gonna... Go. Right, now we can install that. Make sure nothing's catching. Okay. There we go. Make sure there's nothing else. Yep. And job done. Never know. Not anymore anyway, because there's no more water coming through there for now. I will flush that later, but that's another job. So onto the driver's side. So now for the proper direction of how to remove the A-pillar column. We are simply literally just grabbing them. So try to, there we go. So you want to be eager, but also careful. So you pull too hard, you're going to break something. There we go. And we just kind of wiggle them upwards. There we go. And then sideways. Right. And yep, I can see water moisture there already. So same sort of deal as last time. Just going to pull the hose, and whatever comes out, comes out. Yeah, that's already straight away. And whoa. Wow. Jesus, that was a geyser. Gotta be kidding me. Oh yeah, you sure know how to make me work. Hey, okay, so this is done. The other side is now complete. Get this back in and sticker flexed up. I can't do this with the door closed though. So yeah, that Sikaflex will do its job and seal up eventually. That's pretty much all there is to that. So I'll go about reinstalling this side cover and then go about putting back that stuff, and I'll show you what I've done there if I've got enough light left. Back to where it was supposed to be in the first place. All this is now where it should be, albeit a bit more stained than what it previously was, but anyway, can't do much about that now. What I have been doing though is removing all of this here, so the glove box, the side piece, which is all attached to it, and then of course underneath, and then of course the where these buttons go into, the little piece that resides under the center console. The glove box, which seems to be a fairly common problem, breaks, and it's mostly the latch. In my situation, it was the latch, the bottom hinge, and then of course it just the lever inside was also broken. I think they obviously tried to jam it open, it got stuck. The process itself I'm not really going to do as an instructional DIY, mostly because there wasn't an instructional DIY behind it. I basically just got some screwdrivers and went to town. It was a factor of if I broke it, it didn't matter. It was already really quite poor. The repair itself isn't 100% regardless, but you've got to replace the entire piece. You can't just replace the door, you can't just replace an individual component. It is the entire box itself, which I think was around about the $300 to $400 Australian mark, which I really wasn't prepared to pay for a chunk of plastic. So I decided to repair it in one way or another, either bodge it up to no end, or in my situation actually did manage to fix it by plastic welding. I didn't address the stickiness. That is still a factor, annoyingly, but I really should have, but that'll be for another time. I just wanted to get back into the car, but where my problem was isn't really visible anymore, but it was behind in here, this little pin at the very bottom. That whole hinge section was broken off, and then opposingly that was okay. It was just basically this, which is still a problem. These pins here, the plastic that surrounds the latch itself, completely broken away, non-existent. I do believe there's another missing part off the hinge itself that's also gone. I do have the actual handle. I will put that back on just for cosmetics, see if I can't actually put that in place. But there was a thread on, yeah, that's already starting to crack on that anyway. I haven't even touched those pieces. I'm not really worried about it because I can still open and use the glove box. Basically the two little levers in here, one's kind of stuck down annoyingly when I did the repair. There we go. A bit of the glue which I used made its way back into the track, so it dried out. The lubricant was in there, whatever, it's functional. So yeah, it was basically cracked along here, this whole section at the bottom, a few other small cracks along the side, everything like that. But yeah, it's back to a functioning, working glove box. Just use a Gorilla Glue and just ensure that I built up that area, just made sure there was a bit more strength behind it. Otherwise it was all pretty good. This little piece up here, and of course there was a bit that actually did break off just down here. That piece is still there. Again, doesn't matter. So this is going to go back in. There's two wires, one for the button for the actual light to activate it, and the other one for the actual light itself. Weirdly, there's a grey zip tie here which looks factory, as if it was an afterthought of a repair. Instead of actually addressing the problem, they just zip tied it. There we go. But I had to remove the middle piece because there is a screw under here. I don't think any of this is in view at the moment. There's a screw right under here that needs to be put into this top section here. So of course this is going to be a reversal for as little as you'll probably be able to see, because I'll be mostly in the way. But anyway, see how we go. The bottom piece as well, I probably should have left that out, but whatever, it'll be fine. So does this matter which way we go? Yes, it does. So disgusting. And there we are. So yeah, it is just a factor of finessing it in. It just doesn't look right, but it is. But yeah, so now, working glove box. Just got to, there we go. Fantastic. Okay, so all the screws now go back in, which I simply left on the floor. Once again, T20 Torx head. Losing my voice. T20 Torx head, and of course, and then just find all the slots. There's a couple inside. So up the very top here, you've got 1, 2, 3 along the very back here. You have one at the top here, one down the bottom, provided it hasn't broken off, 2 at the very bottom here, and then there is another 1, 2, 3 at the very base. Just clips, so 3 little tabs, and just gets angled in and then pops into place. Done. So for the last part, the little button section underneath the center console, and yes, I am in the footwell at the moment. I can squeeze into some pretty small areas sometimes. Seats all the way back, so there's plenty of space here, but it's not overly comfortable. So let me just, there we go, that's better. This houses the, in my situation anyway, not all cars have this because different machines, different options. This has the heated seat controllers, one on either side at the very end there. It's a jog dial 1 to 5. The little LEDs, which kind of confused me at first, but then I remembered when the caps go back on, the caps have a little icon for the heated seat. So that's what the LED's for, obviously. The other buttons in here, which you will need to take these off, so I'll be doing that. One of them, which these just pull out, I believe. They just pop clip. Yep, there we go. One of them, the ESP button, which for me doesn't work at the moment because my ESP is on the fritz. The other one is, oh man, rear demister, and final one, the hazard switch. Later generations actually had the hazard and something else, a couple of other buttons up here. I think it might have been those 2 buttons, but I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, this in my situation, it's all down here. Just basically putting this all back on. Oh, and actually there is one other little thing here. I think it's a globe. I can't easily get into it. It's really small screws. The plug is extremely tiny. It doesn't want to budge. And it just came off. There we go. I might leave this for now and see if I can't replace the globe. I'm not sure if it's associated with the interior lights or what, because I don't have the owner's manual. So yeah, I'll put that aside and just stick that wire through. Hopefully I can sort that out. But this here was sagging. The entire bottom section was split. And if you have a look on the inside, and kind of see that nice little track, that was from my plastic weld. And then of course then some Gorilla Glue on top. Same at the bottom, just did a bit of stitching there. The 2 little side tabs here also broken along with one of the corner ones. So again, just plastic welded those up. That's come together quite well. So I'm happy about that. It's nice and strong now. That isn't going to come apart at all easily. So as it turns out, mine were labelled and I didn't pay attention. I had L1 to blank blank 5. Blank blank obviously. The obvious one was the hazards. The one next to that was the heated rear demister, which if we rotate the key now, go, we push that and surely enough that lights up. And shush. Kind of obvious too because, yeah, kind of obvious too because it had a couple of thick wires for the rear, which kind of made sense for that switch. ESP, it's not lighting up, nothing's happening on the dash, but again, that system is kind of not fully operative, so I'm not too fussed about that. But again, Torx 20 once more. Screws are in here, so 1, 2, 3. Where's number 4? 4, there we go. Okay, so just kind of, so I have just removed the screws again, and the reason being is that when I took this off, I basically just undid the screws and it slid forward. It was eager to slide forward because there's breakage. In putting it back and feeling that resistance initially, I wasn't really sure. But in trying to put these back on, it's led me to the discovery. There is a lip here at the very top, which I believe needs to recess under this section of plastic. I suppose realistically you'd have these buttons popped out, push that in, and then slide the buttons into place, which makes a lot more sense. I'll just see if I can do that. But the power head seats though, I couldn't get them out before. Just did not want to cooperate. Let's see if I can. I tried this before, it just didn't want to play. Oh, okay, maybe. And the other side, fingers crossed. Okay. Right, okay, so these are all loose now. And except for the hazard switch, which wants to be a pain in the bum because of that wire, I think. No, it's not even there anymore. What's it caught on? There we go. Okay, so a bit further. Gonna try and get past that then go up. This seems like it's correct, but man, it's a pain to do. Makes me double guess whether it is correct. Okay, and then, and back. Yes! How much better is that? Nice. That's exactly how it's supposed to be. Okay, so, Torx bit again. Start to nip these up. Sitting exactly where it's supposed to be. So now, just kind of nestle these back in. Yes, okay, so now back to these. These simply just push on like so. Okay. Done. Yes. And that is how you do it. Brilliant DIY, that one. Oh no, that wire. Weight reduction. So, I think that's going to do it again today, guys. So, thank you very much for joining me. As always, like, subscribe, comment below, etc. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your neighbour that if he ever needs to get in a small area, a footwell is perfect, provided he's my size and flexibility. And also, check your sunroofs. Very important. Really important. Otherwise you get geysers in your car. Anyway guys, until next time, cheers.